So this week there was 2 articles towards a cognitive model of interpreting, as well as the half-page slides. There was your video regarding language availability, and then as well as the TED Talk about deaf people in the military. So I'm going to start with towards a cognitive model of interpreting. And this basically just reviewed all of the models that we've talked about, as well as like how they've affected like the interpreting process. So it went over the helper model, conduit, sociolinguistic, interactive, communication facilitator, and then the bilingual bicultural specialist. So the helper model, as we know, is the earliest model of sign language interpreting. And the conduit model, the interpreter acts as a communication link between people, and only that. So very like no emotion at all. Semiotic, the interpreter is a channel of communication. Sociolinguistic model indirectly implies the presence of a sender and a receiver of the message. A pedagogical model, is notion of message is a critical part of Kalonamos models and refers to the meaning of the speaker's message represented through non-linguistic means, and it's extracted during the analysis phase. Interpreters work with messages which contain speaker's meaning. And then the cognitive model of interpreting is the process is depicted linearly. And then the one that is most generally accepted now is the bilingual bicultural one, where language and culture are inseparable, shift in conceptual meaning, and the conduit model remains. So with language and communication, the article also touched on that models will remain flawed. There will not be a perfect model no matter what comes up with, because everybody views interpreting differently and how it should be, how people should go about it. But the conduit metaphor also states that language functions like a conduit. In writing and speaking, people insert their thoughts or feelings in the words. So words accomplish transfer by containing thoughts and feelings and conveying them to others. And then one more part about the conduit metaphor is listening and reading. People extract the thoughts and feelings once again from the words. So it also talked, like one thing that like I didn't know, it talked about the toolmaker's paradigm, and it quoted like people isolated in slightly different environments. So like everybody's separated because of what they think. And it also says one of the big topics was that interpreters do not deal with words but with meanings. That was one of the main focal points of the articles. So moving on from that into the PowerPoint slides that were like half pages, one of the biggest things from that was the LAMP, or now the RMP, equals less than or greater equal to A. One sec. So LA is listening and analysis, which was later renamed as reception to account for interpreting from sign languages. M is short-term memory, not based on physiological construct of working memory, though it is strongly related to that. And then P is the production of, or the target speech, including self-monitoring and attentional resources. So the equation is LA plus M plus P is less than or equal to A. And then in your video, it talked about the gravitational model and how there's the inner circle and then slowly go out. There's an active zone, a passive zone, and then if you're inside the circle, you're more able to access that language. And if you're outside the circle, then you can still access it, but it's a lot harder. And there's a central fusible principle, centripetal effect, frequency of stimulation, active versus passive, escort principle, and the interference effect. And then in the TED Talk as well, the guest speaker talked about his struggles with the deaf military and the injustices that he faced / still is facing. And I personally think that that is very wrong and that something should be done to fix that. Thank you.